There was once a young man named Marco, just 24 years old. From the outside, Marco looked fine. He had a job, friends, and a normal life. But on the inside, his mind was always busy, always running, always full of noise. Every day he woke up with hundreds of thoughts in his head, thoughts about his past mistakes, thoughts about future problems that had not even happened yet. He felt tired, anxious, and sad without knowing why. Sometimes he said to himself, "My mind feels like a storm that never ends." Marco tried many things to calm down: music, travel, hobbies, but nothing really worked. One day, he heard about a wise old man who lived far away in a quiet village on the hills. People said he was once a very famous psychologist in the city, but he left everything behind to live close to nature and help people find peace. Marco felt a small hope inside him. He thought, maybe this old man can help me. Maybe I can finally breathe peacefully. So Marco packed a small bag and began a long journey. He walked through forests, crossed rivers, and climbed steep paths. The journey itself was tiring, but Marco felt determined. At last, he reached the peaceful village. Birds were singing, the wind was gentle, and everything felt slow. He finally met the old man, who welcomed him with a warm smile. Marco explained everything: how restless he felt, how his thoughts never stopped, how he wanted to live peacefully, but didn't know how. The old man listened carefully and said, "I will teach you how to quiet your mind. But first, I want you to do a small task." He took a glass and filled it with water all the way to the top, so full that even the tiniest movement could make it spill. He handed the glass to Marco and said, "Walk to the end of the village and come back, but remember, not even a single drop should fall." Marco was surprised. What does this have to do with my mind? But he trusted the old man and began the task. Marco walked very slowly. His eyes were always on the glass. He made sure his hands didn't shake. Villagers were talking, children were laughing, dogs were barking. But Marco didn't notice any of it. He saw only the water. He heard only his own breathing. After a long time, he returned safely with the glass still full. The old man asked, "Tell me, Marco, did you see the children playing?" Marco said, "No." "Did you hear the dogs barking?" Marco said, "No, I didn't." "Did you notice the people talking?" Again, Marco said, "No, I only focused on the glass." The old man smiled gently and said, "That is the secret you have been looking for. When your mind stays in the present moment, there is no space for fear, no space for confusion, and no space for unnecessary worries." The old man continued, "When you were carrying the glass, your mind was not in the past, not in the future. It was right here, right now, completely focused." Marco suddenly understood. For the first time in his life, his mind had been quiet, not because he forced it, but because he was living fully in the moment. The old man said, "Peace does not come from running away. Peace comes when you learn to bring your mind back to the present, again and again, gently, patiently." Marco thanked the old man and slowly walked back to his room. He looked at the sky, breathed deeply, and felt something he had not felt in years: silence inside his heart. He returned home a changed person. Whenever his thoughts became heavy, whenever his mind became noisy, Marco remembered the glass of water and gently brought his mind back to the present moment. Because now he knew, the mind becomes calm when we stop living in yesterday and stop worrying about tomorrow. Peace begins inside you, not outside. Focus is the key to calmness. What you give attention to becomes your reality. When you learn to control your thoughts, you learn to control your life. If you liked this content, hit the like button, share it with friends, and subscribe to the channel.